Hello all, welcome to Sociology Current Affairs class. Second topic of today's class, troubles of Dalit movement. What are the problems? So this is very well connected to paper 2, caste system, paper 2, Dalit consciousness, paper 2, caste conflicts, paper 2, backward class movement, and as I have told, even in paper 1, social stratification, unit 5. These are the units which will be connected to this topic called as troubles of Dalit movement. Sociologists are very much interested to study Dalit consciousness because Dalits are emerging as a political force to be reckoned with. Dalit political mobilization is successful relatively compared to that of Dalit economic mobilization. Dalit based political parties have been a very has become very normal in the political scenario because almost all states have Dalit based political parties which are also very strong politically. So politically they are successful but not economically and socially. Politically Dalits are relatively successful compared to that of economic success and social mobility. Sociology of Dalit movement tells you that Dalits are not homogeneous, Dalits are heterogeneous. It is not that one single caste is called as Dalit. Within the Dalit community, there are present many subcastes. So Dalits are heterogeneous. They are not homogeneous. So they are not one single class, rather they are very heterogeneous. Therefore, they are very different. Internal differences are there. Fragmentations are therefore present. They are not able to provide themselves or present themselves as a single concerted unified force. They are split up into various subcastes. So each subcaste of Dalit is floating a political party and they are rivaling each other. They are not coming together, they are rivaling each other. One subcaste, Dalit subcaste, is joining electoral alliance, is having electoral alliance with one party. Another subcaste of Dalit is having electoral alliance with another party. So rather than they forming one single united front, they are divided, they are fragmented, they are split up into many groups. And there are self-seeking leaders who wanted to divide the Dalit unity so that they can politically get mileage. So self-seeking Dalit leaders or Dalit elites is a very important reason for fragmentation of Dalit internally, intra-Dalit fragmentation, because of the heterogeneous character, because of the self-seeking leaders of Dalit community. There are different types of Dalits. Some Dalits are assertive Dalits. Some Dalits are very conservative Dalits. Some Dalits are, third generation Dalits. Some Dalits are elite Dalits. So there are many types of Dalits. Dalit, therefore, is not one single group. Take, for example, salaried Dalits. Salaried Dalits third generation Dalits, 3G Dalits. third generation Dalits, self-obsessed Dalits, self-obsessed Dalits. Likewise, you can speak about many different types of Dalits. Privileged Dalits, privileged Dalits. So many types of Dalits are there. Come to this case of salaried Dalits. They are having, who as the reference group? Non-Dalits. They are not having Dalits as their reference group. They have shun, shun, shun their fellow Dalits. They have left their fellow Dalits and they started imitating the non-Dalit peers. The salaried Dalits, they have shunned the fellow Dalits and started imitating the non-Dalit peers. So they are not a part of this Dalit mainstream. For them, non-Dalit becomes the reference group. Come to the third generation Dalits, 3G Dalits. They are class sensitive but caste blind. They are class sensitive but caste blind. They don't think about their caste. They are not conscious about their caste, but they wanted to have upward class mobility. So their caste identity is not something which bothers them at all. For them, what is needed is secular mobility, class mobility. So they are very conscious about their class mobility, not their caste mobility. Therefore, they are caste blind. They don't, they don't have the consciousness about their caste, but they are very conscious about their class. So they become technologically savvy and they started emulating the Hindu practices in the households. Whatever Hindus are doing, they do in the home. They do all the prayers, they do all the rituals, they go to temple. Technologically they are savvy, so they wanted a class position to improve, not their caste. They are blind to caste but conscious to class. Now come to the self-obsessed Dalits. They use the social capital for succeeding in life. They use their social capital for succeeding in their life. But after having succeeded, they use Brahmanical language and denigrate their own Dalit community. So they use their social capital, they use their caste vote bank, they become successful. After becoming successful, they will have alliance with the Brahmins. They will speak in the language of Brahmins. They will do rituals like Brahmins and they will start denigrating the Dalit community. They will start denigrating the Dalit community. After having achieved upward mobility, they see Dalit community as somebody who is inferior to them. So after becoming politically successful, Dalit leaders are marrying Brahmins. Dalit leaders are marrying Brahmins. Since it is a open class, I cannot give the name of the Dalit leader who married a Brahmin. After becoming politically mobile, he didn't marry a Dalit woman, he married a Brahmin woman and started doing ritual like Brahmin. Thought that he is Brahmin only, he is not Dalit, and Dalit is somebody who is below him. So he forgot his own Dalit identity after having acquired mobility. Now we speak about privileged Dalits, right? So they also, like this self-obsessed Dalits, they are seeing the subcaste differences in the Dalit community. and claim that they belong to a higher subcaste than the other community belonging to the same Dalit community. They are called as who? Privileged Dalits. So we see that there is no end osmosis. In the last class, I spoke about Dr. Ambedkar and COVID-19. Refer last class. End osmosis means what? Many open channels of communication will have to be present between the groups so that their differences will slowly melt down. So the open channels of communications are not there, so there is no end osmosis amongst the various subcaste of the Dalit community. And result is what? Due to the absence of end osmosis amongst the subcaste within the Dalit community, Brahminic domination continues. Brahminic domination continues. Right? Dr. Ambedkar wanted political power, civil equality, and higher education for Dalit mobility. Brahmins are controlling spirituality. They control the soft power, including media. So, casteism is the longest thriving pathology in Indian society. I wanted you to imitate these expressions. Casteism is the longest surviving pathology in Indian society. It affects the mental and social health of the entire nation. It affects the mental and social health of the entire nation. Dalits are living a life in the state of hatredness, devaluation, pain, and suffering. They are leading a life of de-evaluation or devaluation. Upper caste are devaluing the life of the Dalit. Devaluation, discrimination, pain, suffering, hatredness. Even liberal Brahmins who are criticizing the Brahminic rigidity, they don't dismiss the caste system. As long as caste system is present, there will be present untouchability, says Dr. Ambedkar. So untouchability can be abolished only when you abolish caste system. Caste system to be abolished, we have to abolish the Brahminical Hinduism. So rejecting Brahminical Hinduism, Dr. Ambedkar embraced Buddhism along with 5 lakh Mahars of Maharashtra. After globalization, new Dalit middle class is emerging. This new Dalit middle class is conscious about their identity. They wanted to practice assertive power politics. They are committed to empower their community. They are possessing the social capital on par with the dominant community, and therefore Dalit mobilization is emerging because of the work of the assertive Dalit who are the beneficiaries of globalization. They are promoting progressive values, reject regressive backwardism. They don't want caste ecology. They wanted to break the shackles of the caste system. And they also question the state which is influenced by the dominant community. So Dalits not just wanted merely emancipation through new Dalit consciousness. They don't want just emancipation, they wanted the caste structure to be weakened. They wanted to become the governing class. They don't want mercy, they wanted right. They don't want mercy of the state. They wanted to run the state. They wanted to become governing elite. They wanted to make their own agenda and they wanted to privilege their own experiences. So untouchability is now questioned. It is prevalent in India even today, despite of Article 17. This new Dalit middle class questions untouchability. But untouchability is like a hydra-headed evil. It's like a hydra-headed evil. It is having many, it is present, ever present, it is having many heads. It is like a hydra-headed evil. The head of untouchability, the untouchability is a hydra-headed evil. It is raising its head in every place, even in the cities. Even in the cities. So, it is a stark reality in the villages today. Untouchability is hydra-headed evil. It is a stark reality in the villages today. It causes violation. It causes violence. It causes violation of human rights. It is humiliating the lower caste, and therefore untouchability needs to be abolished practically, for which only Dalit based identity movements are emerging. Alongside fragmentation of Dalits, there is also emergence of assertive Dalit power politics. So this is paradoxical. On one hand, we say that Dalit unity is not present. At the same time, assertive power politics is attempted to be played by the young middle class Dalits who are very forward looking, who question inequality structural, who are trying to get the social capital like other dominant caste and wanted to become the governing elite. This will have to guide your answer when you write a question on Dalit movement, right? So we will speak about the third topic, which is nothing but the impact of globalization of capitalism on nation and working class.